Hi, Claire.
Hi, I just joined. Um,
No problem. Uh,
I know I'm early.
no, you're fine. It'll probably take 5 minutes or so after 6 before we kind of really get rolling. It's just kind of a little bit of a slow
Yeah,
process. So,
not a problem at all. I just wanted to make sure everything was functional before.
no, we've had some challenges in the past. So, yeah, I'm glad you did.
Do you want me to try to share my screen just
Go
to make
ahead.
sure that that
Let
works?
me wait. Let me.
Yeah, yeah, I can do what you need to do. We have plenty of
Okay,
time.
now you can try it. I just need to make sure that I allowed multiple people to share it. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, let me but I didn't. Whoa, see, this is good because I don't know where I'm at.
There it goes.
Is it
Santa Cruz River highlights from the living river.
is it in presentation mode?
Not yet.
Oh, see, this is good that we're doing this because I might have, hold on. Let me put it in. I have two monitors. So I just have to figure out if okay, do you see it?
Now it looks like it's in presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay, great. And
Yeah.
I think I can see you and um see my next slides even. This is so fancy. I just got a new computer where I'm now having two monitors, so I'm still getting used to it. Um, do you want me? I can unshare right now if you'd
You can
like.
just leave it. That's no, you can just leave it. It's fine.
Okay.
I would say just leave it, and then if Lauren wants to share the agenda, we can do that. But um,
Okay.
just leave it. Yeah.
Great.
And then we'll just wait for everyone else to join. I see a couple people have already joined, so that's great. Yeah. I am going to step away for a couple minutes and I'll be right back.
Hi, Maria.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Keeping busy?
Oh yeah, crazy stuff. How about you?
Yeah, yeah. It just doesn't seem to stop,
It really
which
doesn't.
guess is a good thing, but also, I don't I don't remember being slow, so
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Lauren.
I'm going to see if I can share my screen so we can get the agenda up really quick before we do the presentation.
Oops.
Yeah, Claire, go ahead and unshare yours, and then I think Lauren, you should be able to take over. I set it up
Thanks,
for
Claire. Yeah.
multiple people, so
Okay. Yeah.
you should be able to.
Perfect. Let me know if you guys can see
Yep.
everything. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to give everybody we'll start at 6:05, give everybody a little bit time to jump on. Hi, Adam. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
Hey, David. How y'all doing?
Good. How's everybody
How are you?
doing?
Good. Good. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. I see we got some participants. So I'm going to get started, and as people kind of trickle in, um, thanks for joining everybody. My name's Lauren Barocas. I'm the new president for the Arizona Association of Environmental Professionals, AZAEP. If you haven't been with us before, welcome to tonight's virtual meeting. I'm just going to run through our quick agenda really quick. And if anyone has any problems hearing or seeing anything, just feel free to speak up or put it in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on everything. And yeah, so welcome. We normally run through our board agenda that we have on the screen right now. And I'd like to give a moment to let kind of everybody in the group introduce themselves. If you just want to like give your name, who you work for, and title, that'd be great. So whoever wants to start, go ahead.
I'll jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Jennifer Jennings. I'm the immediate past president of AZAEP, and I am an environmental planner at Tierra Right-of-Way Services.
Hi.
I'll go next. Oh, sorry, Adam. I'm going to cut you off.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Nick Brazier with SWCA, who Adam is also with, our senior planning team lead for Arizona and the treasurer for our chapter.
Adam, jump right in.
Okay. Hi, I'm Adam Levin. Definitely very eager to share, apparently. Yeah, I'm Adam Levin. I work for SWCA as does Nick. I'm not with the board of AZAP, but I am an environmental planner at SWCA.
Hi, I'm Amber Huntoon Colvin, and I work with Jennifer at Tierra. I'm a little bit of everything, mainly hazmat and bio at this point, though.
Hi, I'm Maria Altimus. I'm an environmental planner with HDR here in Tucson.
Hi guys, I'm Nancy Favor. I'm an environmental planner at the BLM, working on renewable energy projects. And I think it sounded like Adam was interested in working on the board. I like that.
That's what I heard too, Nancy.
We'll have to do some recruiting soon. Anyone else want to share? If not, feel free to put your name and who you are in the chat. That's also great. And anyone else want to introduce themselves?
I'm David McIntyre. I own McIntyre Environmental in Tucson, and I am the secretary of AZAEP.
Hi, I'm Simone Williams. I'm a water resource analyst with AMWA, and I also am a research affiliate with the Water Resources Research Center at U of A.
Simone was a past winner of our Amy Edwards Scholarship. I think we should mention.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. That's amazing. Love to hear that.
Thanks for having me. So it's because of that experience that I've been wanting to get involved. So I'm in Phoenix now. I was in Tucson before, and I'm looking forward to engaging in the activities and see how I can offer support or help or volunteer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Glad to have you up here in Phoenix. And then I might be mistaken, but that was everybody. I obviously will let Claire introduce herself in her presentation. I guess a little bit about me. I work for NV5 as an environmental planner. And yeah, so I'm going to move ahead. Thanks, guys, for joining, and shout out to the board who helped run AZAP. Couldn't do anything without all of you guys, so thanks for all your participation as usual. And just a quick few general announcements about AZAP. Here's our corporate member list. So we currently have 12 companies and 93 people under our corporate membership. And for our general associate members, we have 28 and 11. And our student members, we have 64. And just a heads up, our student membership is free. So if you know anyone interested, please let them know. Students are free. Our total members, we have 196, and then our listserv, we have 570, and we have 504 subscribers. And just a heads up, our general and associate memberships, they're $30 annually. So attending dinner meetings at the member rate, free attendance at webinars, and free access to job postings. And then we do have a corporate membership. It's $150 yearly, and it allows for 15 employees within Arizona to attend dinner meetings at the member rate, free attendance at webinars, and free job postings. And then we have our link on our agenda. And shout out to all of our corporate sponsors. We got Jacobs, Logan Simpson, McIntyre Environmental, Recon, SRP, Aztec Engineering, Kimley Horn, WSP, SWICA, Tierra Right of Way, Westland Resources, and Environmental Responses, Inc. So thanks, guys, for being a corporate sponsor. Really appreciate that. And like I just said, our student membership's free. So if you know any students in school right now, please let them know. Attendance is free. We'd love to see more students getting involved. And then both of the links for the payment of the membership and the online form to join AZAP are linked in the agenda that was sent out. And since we were talking a little bit about our previous scholarship, we are getting together our scholarship back up and running. We've just had it on pause for a little while, so we're kind of revamping that and hoping to see that soon, very shortly. So keep your eyes out, and we'll definitely get an email and a posting about it. So I'm very excited to get that back up and running. And if anyone wants to help out and be part of the committee for the scholarship fund, we're always looking for people. That would be great. I put my email in the chat, so if you have any questions, feel free to just send me an email. And like I said, we have updated our job postings as of January. David, they're up to date currently. Is that correct?
Take myself off mute. Yes, I have been updating them like weekly. I mean, and if I see a job posting in Arizona from an agency or a corporate member, I am doing my best to get them onto our jobs board. So there are a lot of jobs on there now. There are a lot of internships on there now if you're a student. And yeah, there's a lot. If there's a company out there that wants to put it on there, there's a $75 fee, or you can join for your corporate membership and it's free. So yeah, there's a lot of jobs on there now.
Awesome. Glad to hear. Yeah, if anyone knows anyone, definitely a great resource and tool to look for some new career opportunities. Also, we are still looking for some speakers towards the end of this year. So if you're interested in speaking, or you know anybody who would be interested in sharing with AZAP, feel free to reach out to us, and we can get that going and connected. And today we have Claire with the Sonoran Institute. I'm going to let her introduce herself and do her presentation. And you can look forward to, in February 2025, a possible happy hour / networking event hosted both in Phoenix and Tucson. So that way both areas can kind of connect with each other. And I think that's it. So I'm going to stop sharing if no one has any questions, comments, and feel free while Claire's doing her presentation to put questions in the chat if you want to get them answered at the end, or if she doesn't mind an interruption either, I'll let her speak for herself. So thanks, guys.
Hi everyone. Let me get situated. I was sharing my screen earlier, and now everything looks different. So I just got to find the share. Um, it's weird. It's like it moved everybody's pictures on top of the menu.
Yeah, it's a little different now. I have to sometimes move things around to get the toolbar to come back up.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't grab this. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Awesome.
All of our pictures um were covering up. So now hopefully you guys are seeing the presentation.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, it says that they can now see my screen, but whether you believe it or not. All right. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to give the January presentation and kick off 2025, which is surely going to be an interesting year. Um, and hopefully my voice will hang in there the whole time. I caught my daughter's cold, and thankfully it seems to be a milder version, but I got the hoarse voice and coughing version. Um, but fingers crossed that I'll make it through no problem. But have patience if I get a crazy coughing fit. And for the questions aspect, feel free to pop a question in the chat. And I think I'll see it, but if I don't see it, I mean I feel like we can have questions as they come up. It's totally fine. So, for those of you who are not familiar with Sonoran Institute, we are a conservation nonprofit. We are founded here in Tucson, but we work throughout the Colorado River Basin. And we have been working since 1990 to connect people to the natural resources that sustain us. And tonight I'm going to be talking about our Santa Cruz River program. It's one of our 4 programs that we focus on in the Colorado River Basin. And yeah, giving you some highlights about the living Santa Cruz River. This is the moment of truth. Can I advance my own slides? Yay. So we have been working since our founding, since we were founded in Tucson, we've been working in some capacity throughout the Santa Cruz River watershed since 1990. And so we have this vision of the Santa Cruz River from Mexico to Marana as a living and flowing river that remains our community's the foundation of our community health and prosperity. This river is so important for our region's cultural and ecological heritage. And even though a lot of things have changed, it's still a really important resource in this area. Oops, I need to. I also want to acknowledge that the Santa Cruz River flows through the land and territories of Indigenous peoples, and we have lots of federally and probably unrecognized tribes in Arizona, including the O'odham and the Yaqui, whose relationships continue with the land and the river today. And just want to always acknowledge them as important aspect of this region. So to get us situated, make sure we all know the Santa Cruz River watershed. We have a very unique river system where it actually starts in the US in the San Rafael Valley and crosses into Mexico and makes a U-turn and flows north again. And it's the only river that crosses the US-Mexico border twice. So we have that unique designation. And then it flows north, east of Nogales through Green Valley and on past Tucson and Marana, ultimately joining the Gila River. And the Gila River flows into the Colorado River. So we are, a tributary of the Colorado River. Historically, this river did not flow from start to finish as one long, continuous flowing ribbon of water, but there were many, many places where there was water available year round. And that is what provided such a rich cultural and ecological history in this area. And though we have seen the river change, and rivers are regularly changing all the time, but historically, our river looks very different now than it did historically. We still have sections of the river that are flowing year round, and that's what's shown here in our blue, dark blue areas. So much of the river dried up due to groundwater pumping and other land use challenges. But these stretches that are, if I move my cursor, do you guys see my cursor out of curiosity?
I do. I do.
Okay. These dark blue, thank you, David. These dark blue areas are the stretches that are flowing year round with the release of effluent from our urban areas. So when we shower, flush the toilets, do dishes, all this water goes to our wastewater treatment facilities, is cleaned to a very high standard, and then released into the river if we aren't reusing it in some other way. And so that's what we're showing in these dark blue stretches. And just so you have a sense of what that looks like on the ground, we have in the upper left here the river closer to Nogales, near Tumacacri, and then the river up in Marana on the northern end, and then right in the middle is the newest stretch of the river that's flowing, and that's the river in the downtown Tucson area. That's the Heritage Project reach, with water that Tucson Water has been releasing into the river since 2019. So the river has lots of different personalities, I like to say, and the conditions, what you see at the river will vary depending on where you are. And that's true for the dry sections, and it's true for the flowing sections. And the source for these sections that are flowing year round is, as I mentioned, these wastewater treatment facilities. So we're getting a lot of benefit from releasing this water into our riverbed, but it's not without its challenges. And a lot of our current work at Sonoran Institute on the Santa Cruz River Program started with this die-off of trees along the river this is in the Nogales stretch of the river near Rio Rico. This is the Rio Rico Bridge. And all this gray stippling here are dead cottonwoods and willows that seem to die overnight. This was in 2005. And people in the community were very surprised and didn't understand what was happening. And long story short, it turns out that even though there was water in the river, the trees weren't able to access this water because the riverbed had turned into an aqueduct because the water quality was so poor, and the microbial organisms and algal organisms were creating this clogging layer and not allowing any recharge or infiltration of water to happen. And fast forward to the future, we now have clean water that is recharging. But this was a major catalyst for creating our Living River series. Sonoran Institute worked with partners in Santa Cruz County to develop this annual Living River report to try to keep tabs on river health and hopefully avoid these kinds of situations before they arrive, or at least be aware of them so nobody is surprised. And so the original series that focused on the Nogales area was really aimed at looking and tracking river health and understanding conditions. And we just happened to catch the upgrade to the treatment plant in the Nogales area. And so Pima County said, hey, we really like this series that you've developed. We're upgrading the facilities in Pima County and would like to develop a similar series to explain and track the outcome of a $600 million plus investment in upgrading the treatment facilities in that area. And so we now have two Living River series, and both of them have tracked improved conditions along the river thanks to these facility upgrades that have happened in 2009 in the Nogales area and in end of 2013 in the Tucson area. And so we are celebrating 10 years of clean water in the Tucson area. So this data is focused on Tucson ammonia levels. And we have now very low levels of ammonia. Before the upgrades, we had an average concentration of ammonia of 13 milligrams per liter, which is pretty high. And this, on average, it was 14 milligrams per liter above the standard for protecting aquatic life. So fish and other aquatic organisms. Though this data is for Tucson, it was a very similar situation in the Nogales area. And then this is just the 2023 data. We have much less ammonia in the water, which is super common in wastewater. But now we have improved technologies for removing the ammonia before it's released into the river. And if we do have an exceedance of the standard, it's a much, much smaller exceedance. So, treating our water and maintaining high quality water, it's a complex process to have to treat our water. So occasionally there are some little spikes, but when we do get spikes, it's not these huge values like we were seeing before the upgrade and these large values that were happening all the time. So this is really good news for the river and something we were celebrating the 10 years of clean water with the Tucson report that we released in September. Other exciting things happening along the river. So the Roger Road facility is the former facility that was the oldest, the first treatment plant in the Tucson area that was releasing water into the river. And because it was the oldest, it needed to be completely rebuilt. So now we have this old footprint. This aerial image here is showing you the large footprint of the old facility. The new facility that was built is back in this upper corner of the photo. And Pima County is starting to plan a new use for this footprint, and it might involve creative reuse of these areas and not just demolition. There's a lot of ideas on the table, and one part has already been established is this new park in the corner here, Agua Nueva Park, that has native fish that have been stocked and some endangered wetland plants that are being planted here, which is really exciting. So a new vision for a new community amenity that may also honor the past. I've heard some talks about maybe including, a wastewater museum type aspect to it, but lots of ideas. Just upstream of here, there's also going to be a new pedestrian bridge. Hopefully you guys are all familiar with the Chuck Huckleberry Loop that includes pedestrian bike paths right along the river. It's an excellent way to get to see the river and to get around. And there's in this area, just upstream or south of the Sweetwater wetlands, there's going to be a new pedestrian bridge, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity to change sides in this stretch. So this will be a really great enhancement of this recreation amenity. Moving a lot further upstream in the Nogales area, last year, the multi-million dollar, $13.8 million rehabilitation of the main pipeline, which is the International Outfall Interceptor, was completed. And so this image here on the left shows Nogales Wash with the trees snaking back towards the border. And it's right along this wash that we also have this pipeline that is bringing, and you can see it in this photo too. It's bringing the wastewater to the Nogales International Treatment Plant. And when we had problems with this aging pipeline, it would have sewage breaches go into Nogales Wash and then go right into the river. And so it was a multi-year rehabilitation of this pipeline, and it's really exciting that it's done. And so some more protection for the water quality and conditions along this stretch of the river. Also in the Nogales area, Sonoran Institute and partners were able to install the first litter trap in July last year. So this is a small system. It's a pilot project, but you can see it's this particular location. It's dry, but when it does rain, it floats up and it catches all the floatable trash. And so the idea is that we have a single place to, at least in this localized area, one place to collect and remove trash rather than having storm events just send trash flowing all the way down to the river and have more places to collect trash. Unfortunately, trash is a big problem all along the river in Santa Cruz County and in Tucson, in Pima County. People in Santa Cruz County are often surprised to hear that trash is an issue in Pima County because it's just assumed that everything is coming from Mexico, but that is not that's not the case. It's coming from everywhere. There's lots of sources. The watershed is getting washed into the river, and so food packaging is the number one piece or category of trash that we're finding. Sonoran Institute has been studying the trash in the Tucson area, and the data supports that by and large it's food packaging, and that's the floatable, it's lightweight, it can get blown in, it can get washed in very easily. There's definitely the heavy stuff too, but all right, so those were just some highlights of, some of the more policy and management type things, but how is the actual river doing, and what are some highlights from the latest Living River reports in terms of the river conditions themselves? Just to give you a frame of reference, this is the average amount of water released from the Nogales and then the two facilities in the Tucson area. So quite a different, the two systems are very different in the sense of the volume of water that's being released, but the benefits that we're getting from these practices are very similar in both areas. We are sustaining, wildlife habitat. We are creating natural recharge of our aquifers, sustaining riparian vegetation that help deal with floods and reduce erosion and all sorts of things that I know you guys are probably well versed in being environmental professionals. So Sonoran Institute organizes an annual fish survey, and this high quality water has increased the diversity of fish that we're finding in the river. When we first started out in 2008, before the upgrades to the Nogales treatment plant, we were only finding a single species, and it was a native, the longfin dacier. These yellow boxes indicate native species, but we only found 2 fish. It was very low numbers. And quickly after the upgrades, we were finding more numbers of fish and more species. And then the Tucson area, before the upgrades, we were only finding the western mosquito fish, and again, only far away from the treatment facility release point, and not in high numbers. It was more than 1 or 2 fish, but so even though we have a lot of non-native fish in the system, it's really good to see that fish are there and they are surviving. We're maintaining this high quality water now so fish can survive. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Gila top minnow, which are an endangered fish, used to be throughout the Gila River Basin and now is more limited in where it's found. And luckily for us, it came back to the Santa Cruz River in the Nogales area in 2015 and in the Tucson area in 2017. So we've been tracking with our annual fish survey how the Gila top minnow are doing. And this is the chart showing the number of fish caught per second, which is how you can compare year to year. We're not trying to do population estimates when we're out there. We're trying to see, presence, absence of species and make sure we're capturing all the species present. So when you look at the number of fish caught per second, that's how we can compare year to year and kind of see how the population is, or get an idea of how the population is doing. And so at one site near Tumacacri Historical Park, the top minnow have been doing a lot better recently and have increased, as have the western mosquito fish, which look very, very similar and often outcompete the Gila top minnow. But since 2015, in some sites, the mosquito fish are known to outcompete the top minnow, and we haven't been seeing that. They've been maintaining a presence, even though there's mosquito fish in the system as well. So that's good, and we're going to keep monitoring that. In the Tucson area, so here's a picture on the bottom with the 2 species. You can see how similarly they look. And because they look so similar, we often catch a lot of fish during the fish survey to minimize the stress to the fish that we're returning to the river and to make the identification process faster. We just do a random grab of fish that are from this family, and then they get identified in the lab later. And so this is the percent of the randomly collected fish that we're tracking in the Tucson area. And you can see in the Heritage Reach, the top minnow are doing really well. They were actually reintroduced to the river here in 2020. And they've been doing really well. And right now actually have the highest number of any site that I've been to. And in the Northwest Tucson to Marana Reach, they're still there, but recently have decreased in number for some reason, and the mosquito fish have increased. Now, because we have these randomly collected fish, and there's been some genetic studies done, we've realized there's actually a 3rd species that is adding a complicating factor here. So there is another fish that looks identical to the Gila top minnow. It is an all-female hybrid of a species from Mexico with the Gila top minnow. And this species uses the male top minnow to reproduce, but doesn't actually use any of his genetic material. They just clone themselves. Something about mating with a male helitop minnow stimulates the reproduction, but then they just clone themselves. And so we have this hybrid species present as well. And it's found in the Nogales area sites and in the Tucson area sites. And so we don't actually know yet how many of the top minnow that we're collecting are actually these hybrids too. And we're working with University of Arizona to hopefully get some better understanding. But so far, it seems like you have to identify the hybrids with genetics, or there's a student who's going to be doing some measurements to see if we can identify them by looking at their teeth and their other structural measurements. But still, the helitop minnow is definitely there and doing well. And we're excited to have this endangered fish back in the Santa Cruz. So in addition to fish, this high quality water has also dramatically improved conditions for invertebrates. And we have the best data set for the Tucson area. And Pima County worked with Harris Environmental to collect annual samples of the macroinvertebrates living in the water. And so what we have in black is the unique or the average of the unique number of taxa found at 4 sites. And then the gray is the cumulative unique found. So we can see that the annual average increased over the years. But so that's demonstrating increased biodiversity, and we see that these samples aren't able to collect all species that are there. So sometimes you get things that aren't found one year, but you find new species, and that's what you can see with this cumulative unique. That's really demonstrating the improved diversity from the cleaner water. And this Arizona Index of Biological Integrity it's a state standard that was set for warm water rivers, not necessarily those with effluent being released into them or this high recycled water. So it's really great to see that this index, which is a whole bunch of different metrics mushed together into one index, that we've been slowly increasing. And now we're looking like we're in this uncertain. We might not be totally healthy, but that might be expected because it's an effluent dependent reach. But we're maybe not impaired according to this standard. So that's pretty exciting. I just realized that I have not been paying attention to if there's any questions. So hopefully if there is, feel free to interrupt me.
Nothing in the chat so far.
Okay, great. Thanks. Something that we highlighted in the Nogales report this year that just came out in December is that we have the southwestern synchronous firefly. I had no idea until the last few years that there were fireflies in Arizona. I think a lot of people think of fireflies as being something from the southeast, but we actually have fireflies in Arizona. And Tumacacri National Historical Park was hosting surveys last summer and had as many as 3,000. And this beautiful photo that Julius took highlights the firefly show that we can see if we're there at the right time. So that's really fun. And there are fireflies in the Tucson area too, I think. At least historically they have been. And there's a growing interest in studying and getting firefly observations. Other wildlife are bobcats. There was a really great study called Bobcats in Tucson that I've been studying bobcats, and they have this great data set that shows that bobcats are using the river. And so this is the Heritage Project Reach. Water is being released just south of Sentinel Peak. And so this stretch of the river is very narrow, and there's not a lot of water, and it's still a really new flowing system. So the conditions there are very variable depending on a lot of variables like floods and how much water is being released and all sorts of things. But even though it's a new system, the bobcats, there's Val and Margaret were documented coming down regularly into the river corridor, which is really exciting. I mean, they actually had huge home ranges. In the northwest Tucson to Marana, downstream of Ina Road, or sorry, near Ina Road is the Tres Rios facility. And in this area, we have a much broader, a wider area and a lot more water is getting released. There's actually the most water is released from the Tres Rios facility. And this has been happening for decades, so the vegetation is much bigger and more established. And this might be why in this area we have what look like real river cats, where the bobcats are spending most of their time in the river corridor. So really interesting to see the differing uses of the river by these bobcats. And this is just a little taste of their whole study. So I think they have a report that was either just released or about to be released, but you can look them up online. So what else is happening? There is a lot happening along this river. It's hard to, is there maybe a question? I can pause for a minute if there's.
If the question is, do the heritage project areas still have major issues with invasive species as they may in more degraded portions?
As many problems with invasive species?
Yeah, let me say that again. Do the
Yeah.
heritage project areas still have major issues with invasive species as they may in more degraded portions?
Yeah, sorry, it was written a little awkwardly, but that's what I meant. If there are as many in the heritage project areas as there are in more degraded areas.
Yeah. I haven't done that exact kind of comparison as does it have as many or more or less compared to the others, but definitely, invasive species are present along multiple stretches of the river. In terms of plants, I know, so I don't have it in this presentation, but um, you can look at some of the past Living River reports on our website, and we have a supplementary online report that shows some trend data. And so there's vegetation is being tracked in the heritage reach, and I know that native plant diversity is increasing, and the cover, oh gosh, I'm going from memory now. I think the cover while cover might still be dominated by the non-native or invasive species, maybe non-native is a safer term. I think the native plants are on a upward trend, which was good. Since I didn't have that in this presentation, I don't have it fresh in my in my mind. There's a lot of data in these reports because we worked with technical committees to choose indicators of that we should track every year. And so there's probably 15 to 20 indicators in both reaches. And then from that, we kind of highlight some of these stories in the print report. And then we have the supplementary report that is showing all of the data from when we started to the current water year that we're focused on.
Thank you.
So what else is happening? As I said, there's a lot of data that is that I'm not including in this presentation tonight, but there's also a lot of things happening along the river. And one of these that you may or may not be aware of is that last year, American Rivers listed the Santa Cruz River as number 4 of America's most endangered rivers. And this might sound like a bad thing, but Sonoran Institute was actually responsible for nominating the Santa Cruz River for this. And we think that it is an opportunity to highlight how far the river has come, and yet that there are still threats to its recovery. And so this has really been good fuel, I guess, for the creation of, well, not yet, it hasn't been created yet, for the desire to create the Santa Cruz River Urban National Wildlife Refuge. There's a big coalition that Sonoran Institute is part of that is trying to create this urban national wildlife refuge that would span from the border to Pima County, not as like the area would include not all the land in here. So it would be within this area, landowners could opt in, and if we do establish the refuge, landowners could opt in and contribute their land to the refuge. But the refuge concept would honor, the whole river corridor. And we feel this would be important because it would recognize both the ecological and anthropogenic value of the river. It's a high level land protection that would offer additional funding presumably additional federal funding to protect the Santa Cruz River. And it's really well supported. So I'm sure there are missing entities from this slide because I don't know that we've updated it recently, but this is just a sample of who is participating in the coalition that's working towards this effort. And these are some of the milestones to date. So about a year ago, this more formalized coalition was created. And in the last year, we've had site visits with Fish and Wildlife Service and Department of Interior leadership, and then unanimous resolutions and proclamations passed by Santa Cruz County, Pima County, the San Javier District of the Tohono O'odham Nation, and the City of Tucson. A landscape conservation design was submitted, and I think that was essentially a document that said, okay, here's our concept, this is why we need to do this, and here's all the support. So that was submitted in May of last year. And in November, which is featured here in the photo, Fish and Wildlife Service came and signed a partnership, the Santa Cruz River Wildlife Partnership, with Santa Cruz County, Pima County, and City of Tucson, which is a little bit different than the Urban National Wildlife Refuge, but is a good stepping stone in that direction, and is a vehicle to help bring funding to the river as well. And then just this month, Fish and Wildlife Service approved the land protection strategy. And so the next step would be to, start figuring out a little more careful, specifically looking into, okay, if we are to create this National Wildlife Refuge, which parcels would actually be the protected refuge parcels? So we've made a lot of great progress, and it's super exciting to think that the river could be, I think it would be, if we get this status, I'm pretty sure we'd be the second urban national wildlife refuge. It's a newer program. Most of the wildlife refuges aren't the urban kind. The first one was in the Albuquerque area in New Mexico. I think there was maybe some questions. Yeah, I can pause here if there are questions that hopefully I can answer about the Urban Wildlife Refuge. My colleague Luke has been leading our engagement on that, so I may not know all of the detailed answers.
There there is are you guys I'm sorry, real quick. Amber, can you see the slides now?
Oh, was someone not being able to see
Yeah, she may have
things?
dropped off. I'm not sure if she's still on. So Simone had a question in the chat. Given the increased push, and Amber's not seeing the slide. Amber's not seeing
Oh,
anything. I'm sorry. I'm not
no,
sure
no,
what her
I'm
problem.
looking at the chat now.
There's Simone's question. Yeah.
I can see the slides. I think every others can as well.
I think Amber cannot. I'm not sure why, but everybody else can.
I
Sorry,
think
Amber.
Amber, there's a way to slide if you see the speaker next to. I don't know if that's what you're having trouble. There should be an adjustable bar. I don't know if anybody else has that, but maybe just a helpful hint.
Yeah, I won't offer a suggestion because I feel like my view is really different from your guys' view as the share of screen, but that's frustrating if you can't see the slides. I'm sorry. Let me see this question. Given the increased push for direct potable reuse of effluent by water service providers, are there contingency plans in place to ensure sustained flows in the river and conservation gains? So that is a great question. I know that there was some articles that just came out this month as well about Tucson Water is creating a advanced purification system. There's a bunch of new funding that will allow treatment of some of that water to be to add it for potable use. And so that's definitely something that will need to be considered if the community wants to maintain flows in the river, we'll have to decide how much is going to be, left in the river. Right now, the plan for that potable reuse is around 2.5 million gallons per day, which for the Tucson area, I think was about 7% of what's released. So a small amount, but not insignificant. We do have a couple years ago the first dedication of water to the river, which was really exciting. Because we've been putting water into the river for decades, but never, it was kind of because we didn't know what else to do with it. Initially, it was unwanted water, and then because it was convenient. And now we're putting water into the river for the river in the Tucson area from the Agua Nueva facility. Pima County is using water from the conservation effluent pool to sustain flows in that stretch of the water or if the river for the Gila top minnow. And if ever if there's a drop in the amount of water that is being released, then conservation effluent pool will get they have to maintain 5 million gallons per day on average. And then Tucson Water for a while was using some of that conservation effluent pool water in the Heritage Reach as well. So hopefully that answers a little bit on that question. Oh wait, no. Oh, there we go. So Sonoran Institute is also striving to our Santa Cruz River program works to have a lot of diverse outreach to get people to the river, to connect people with the river and initially just inspire appreciation and then ultimately, inspire stewardship of this area. And so we have a lot of different events. Every September, we have what has now become a full Dragonfly Festival. We do this with our partners at University of Arizona and Pima County and everyone listed here. And it's really fun. There are virtual and in-person presentations. There are guided Dragonfly tours. People can participate in a bio blitz, lots of fun things. And we time this with when the Tucson Area Living River Report comes out at the end of September. We also host trash cleanups, and I don't have the metrics for 2024 yet, but in 2023, and these trash cleanups are not that I'm listing here are not just the ones Sonoran Institute has organized. There's really, I feel like in the last 5 years, an increased interest and efforts to hosting trash cleanups. So this is a summary of the trash cleanups that Pima County knows of, official trash cleanups in 2023. And so over 500 people and almost 15 tons of trash removed from the river. It's really unfortunate that we have this problem, but we're finding that it's a really great opportunity to get people to the river, gives people a chance to connect and steward and feel they're contributing, and they are. It looks so great afterwards. This flyer here for the river cleanup and wildflower party is our biggest. We hosted it a year ago. It's not included in these metrics here because it was in 2024, and we had over 300 people come to the river for a single cleanup. It was a special cleanup because our partners at Ironwood Tree Experience made seed balls. So we collected all the trash, and then people were making seed balls, and then we launched them into the river, and it was really fun event. And that's what we've been trying to do also with these trash cleanups, make them like a party at the river. We have a DJ, there's prizes, there's food trucks, and it's been proving to be a really fun model way to get people down to the river and excited. Another annual event that we've been doing since 2009 is Santa Cruz River Research Days. So if any of you guys are doing projects along the river or want to know more about what kind of work is happening along the river, I encourage you to check this event out. It started initially as a more professional audience, but there's more and more members of the general public that are coming that are just wanting to know more about what's happening. And we have just sent out the call for abstracts today, so you can find information on our website about that and more details as we're still planning some things like our field trip, but April 29th and 30th. And it's also bilingual in since the pandemic, we've been able to do live interpretation, which has been a goal for us to offer this for our binational watershed. And thank you, pandemic, for Zoom and letting us figure out how to do that. And now we're doing hybrid events, which is a little more challenging, but we're still able to do the simultaneous translation, which has been really great for our Spanish speaking presenters or Spanish audience. Coming up in our next event is on February 16th. This is a fun event. This is a new thing we haven't done before. We are partnering with a local artist who is got some money to do some art focused on the Santa Cruz. So she's going to be revealing her pieces at this event, but also doing a workshop to help all levels. Like you don't have to be an artist to participate in this workshop, but she'll guide us in some art techniques. So there are definitely still spots available, at least as of yesterday when I looked. So if you're at all interested in that, hopefully we'll see you at that event. Also, something that you may not be aware of, green drinks. Sonoran Institute has been kind of the coordinator for green drinks for the last year or so. This started before, but the baton was passed to us, and so we're just the current home for it. And this is a fun monthly happy hour, an opportunity to network with other folks in the environmental sector. And we do, there's a speaker each time, but it's a very short presentation. It's like a 5 minute, hey, this is my organization, this is what we're doing. And some people have been tabling, having a table with information. If you're interested, you could probably find us online, and the next events are also on our website. Oh, and we're also turning 35. Sonoran Institute is hosting 3 different 35th anniversary celebrations this year. The Tucson one is happening March 7th. Be really great to have any of you there. And tickets are $75 and cover dinner, mezcal tasting, and other fun things. So you can snap this QR code or also find information on our website about that. So invite you guys to connect with us in some way. Oh, and I'm just seeing the chat, and it's your birthday as well. Oh, but that's really close. You should come celebrate your 37th with our 35th. Invite you to connect with us in a variety of ways, however you choose, even if you're just following us on social media, or can join our listserv or our mailing list. Can learn more on our website. And of course, we're a nonprofit, so appreciate donations. And if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to take any questions. Looks like Maria.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, I was just curious, when you were mentioning about surveying for fish and finding the weird hybrid, have you guys done or thought to do a collection of eDNA in the river to look for different fish species?
Yeah. So, I asked our game and fish partners what they thought about eDNA. And if I'm remembering correctly, so we haven't done it, but I think I don't know, you might know more than I do about the eDNA process, but they made it sound like we'd need to take time to develop the indicator or something to when you have the sample, it's not, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting the exact lingo because I'm not,
it sounds like a great opportunity and maybe like
yeah.
a great master's or PhD project for a U of A student.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because maybe I'll have to ask about that again, whether there is a woman at Texas A&M who is studying the hybrid. So I will ask her if we could develop that marker for the hybrid, that if we took the sample in the field at the same time that we're doing the survey, that could provide additional information. That's a really good suggestion.
And there's also a woman up in NAU who does a lot of eDNA research that might be a good resource to check with. I can find her name and.
Yeah, great. And I should put out there that if anyone is interested in joining the fish survey, you're welcome to. We just let me know that you're interested. It's a multi-agency effort. We're the coordinators and are fully permitted now, but we still rely on having a team built from the agency folks who have the fish identification knowledge, that are they're doing this all the time, not just once a year like me. As an ecologist, I feel like I know a little bit about a lot of different things. But we have lots of people coming and it's really fun. We have two days, one day focused on Tucson area sites and one in the Nogales area. Any other thoughts? I can stop sharing.
That was great. Thank you. I guess I had a question. Where did you guys get the idea for the floatable trash collection system in the river? That's like somewhere like a partner city or somewhere doing that, or how did you guys get that device in?
Yeah. So Luke Cole, who directs our Santa Cruz River program, he joined us about 6 years ago and he moved here from DC. And I feel like he was aware of these devices. So maybe somewhere in the DC or on the East Coast, um, they're using these. I've definitely seen some videos in other countries, but as far as I know, it's the first one that's installed in the Arizona in this flat, where we have more flashy systems and not just steady floating or flowing conditions. So yeah, but I think we learned about them because Luke was aware of them and aware of this company.
Okay, awesome. Cool. I thought that was really cool. I guess I have a follow-up question to that. I know you said that you get a lot of like trash that has to do with like food containers and wrappings and stuff like that. And I just wonder if there's any possibility, do you guys get like a lot of plastic water bottles? Have you thought about like recycling those for maybe like some money to go back into the river or anything like that with those device systems if you were to put more of them up?
Oh, that's a good question. So yes, I didn't include the trash data. This is an area that Luke has been leading, but recyclables are a lot of the floatable things that we're finding, a lot of bottles and things. So technically those are recyclable. I'm not sure at what point, like how much time in the sun or in the elements reduces their ability to be recycled. And sometimes when we're in these cleanups, there can be a lot of like dirt and things that make
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
things harder to recycle. But if
Yeah.
we start putting in more of these traps, that's a good thought of whether any of the stuff, because maybe it would be captured sooner before it had been long in the system, and it could the recycling component generate funding? Yeah, I'll ask Luke what he thinks about that idea. It's definitely those traps are not going to be, or litter traps are not going to be a one solution. I think
Yeah,
we're going to
of
need
course.
like multi-pronged effort, but definitely will be uh, a useful tool. I think we've been wanting to pilot it somewhere for a while now, and then finally got the opportunity last year. Um, Constellation Brands and City of Nogales made that happen. So
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Got a quiet group tonight, I guess. Well, it was a pleasure. And again, I think David will have Claire's contact just in case anyone has lingering questions or wants to follow up. And of course, you can find Sonoran Institute online. That'd be great.
Maybe we could do a volunteer event with him where we clean out trash.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say that'd be great if we could maybe get some of those volunteer events. We're always looking to kind of promote those or even coordinate something. That would be awesome.
And just put my email in the chat. And yeah, we don't yet have it firmly on the calendar yet for when the next trash cleanup is happening, but we try and do typically for a year, so 2 in the winter, spring, and 2 in the fall. Obviously in the summer there's trash, but it's less less fun to be out there in the heat. Although we've had some people come even on some really hot days to pick up trash. So yeah, feel free to pass on the word. So, and if any of the organizations are interested in talking about work that they do, that is also part of the green drinks.
Where can we find a schedule for green drinks?
I think on our website, if you go to the events, let me see, I
Okay.
can pop that in the chat. All the green drinks are in there, and then there's a listserv that I need to. I think I forget because it's a separate Google group that we're managing. I forget how you can add yourself to the list. I've been on it for so long that I forget how it works. But if you reach out to me, I'm happy to figure out how to do that.
There's also a Facebook group. I think I just joined it like a couple weeks ago.
Great. I'm not on social media myself, so with the exception of LinkedIn. So good to hear that there's a Facebook group. Thank you everyone so much for having me here today and for taking the time out of your Tuesday evening to participate.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I learned a lot, so that was very exciting. Glad to hear the work being done.
Oh, yay.
And I'm totally stoked that there's fireflies down in Southeast Arizona. I really want to check those out. I love fireflies. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Tumacacori is going to be hosting firefly events again next summer. I barely knew, but I wish I had known about them sooner, because I would have gone myself.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out, and we'll see you hopefully in February sometime for a happy hour.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
Bye.
Bye.